Everyone I know. Everyone I know. Everyone. Welcome, everyone I know, the podcast where we argue about the mundane. We're here again in Troy, New York, the birthplace of Uncle Sam, the birthplace of...
Freedom.
Yep. No. We're in the littlest little city in the world. I'm here with my producer, Brendan.
Hello.
And my brother, Chris.
What's going on, guys?
We got a big boy guest this week, folks. Real special one for you. We have the high priest between the headphones, the sultan of sound editing, the maharaja of the mixing board, the producer of last podcast, Travis Morningstar. Oh, God.
Were you about to call me McElroy?
I was. I thought I said podcast, and I was like, I got it straight to McElroy's. Jesus.
No, that's very appropriate. Yeah, Travis McElroy.
Travis McElroy. Hi. What's up, Travis? How are you doing?
Can I do a Travis McElroy impression?
Oh, hell yeah, man.
No, I cannot. But I'm honored to even be uttered in the same sentence. So that's great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Travis is calling in from New York.
New York City.
New York
Big
City.
Apple.
Now, I've got a question for you, Travis. Is it the Big Apple or is it just a Big Apple down there?
You know what? I will say it is. It's definitely an apple, and it's funny you should ask that because I'm actually from Manhattan, Kansas.
Okay.
And
Really?
we do call that the Little Apple.
Really?
So yes.
Level up,
And,
dude.
There you go.
And so yeah, I moved from the Little Apple to the Big Apple, and so it is the Big Apple from my vantage point.
It's the biggest apple I've ever seen. I'll tell you what.
Sure.
All right. Okay. So you are on Last Podcast Network. You are the producer for Last Podcast on the Left. It's a fantastic program.
Very funny.
I don't think there's anybody on it that listens to us that doesn't listen to you guys. But if
Right.
you haven't, you should definitely check them out and check out the Last Podcast Network and their variety of shows that they have. So I've got some questions for you actually about your tenure at Last Podcast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. First one, I just want to know, when did you start with them?
It's kind of a long and winding story, actually. Before I moved to New York in 2011, I was listening to a radio station on a website called Breakthrough Radio, and I stumbled upon a show called Portrait of a Comedian, and that was actually Marcus Park's original interview show where he went around with a Zoom recorder around New York City and just interviewed comedians.
Oh, nice.
And I listened to that a lot, and I emailed him a couple times from Georgia, just being like, "Hey, I'm a big fan of the show. I like what you do, blah blah blah," and he never responded. But then, a year later, I moved to New York City because I had a nervous breakdown with $500 in my pocket, and I just sort of wandered around going to different comedy shows, open mics, and stuff like that, just because I was super into comedy and sort of geeking out for that first year. And I ran into Marcus. He was sort of running the lights and the sound for a show at this place called Cabin. And I was like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I sent a couple emails, and I was, I'm a fan of your show." And he wasn't nothing had blown up for him, so he didn't really know how to take it. So he was just like, whatever. And so I emailed him again. I was like, "Hey, I'm now in New York. I want to work with you. I want to help out with whatever you're doing." And it just so happened that he was working on podcasts, which I was massively obsessed with. I was listening to Max Fun a lot with Jesse Thorne.
Yep.
Obviously, Comedy Bang Bang or Comedy Death Ray at the time. And so I was just a complete horrible podcast nerd, and I had stumbled upon somebody that seemed to be in that world as well. And so I started working with them. We just made, there was a really a lot of shows that just didn't go anywhere, and but throughout the whole thing, he was making Last Podcast with Henry and Ben, and that immediately was this is going to be pretty big, and so we just have been working on that for 5 or 6 years or something.
Shit,
and
that's rad.
it was kind of it didn't make any money. It didn't have an audience for a while, a long time. And then sort of one day, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, we just watched the numbers sort of just blow up overnight. And then suddenly I could stop I was working in wine. I was like a sommelier. And
that's pretty badass.
Basically had given up all hope that I would work in podcasting or entertainment or anything because we weren't making any money. But then one day they were just like, okay, so we can all get paid doing this now. And I was like, oh my fucking God, thank God. Because I had to get the fuck out of being a sommelier to the world's worst people in New York City.
Were you tired of being hit on by like 40-year-old moms? Was that a common experience?
Getting hit on by 40-year-old moms, 70-year-old stockbrokers, homeless men. I will say, speaking of that, one of the nicest ways that somebody hit on me was in the Upper West Side. A homeless guy, he said to me as I was getting off a train, he said, I want to come just looking at you.
Well,
and I was like, wow, thanks.
High praise.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'll take it.
You say, well, if you want to, that's your business, whatever.
I want to come just looking at you.
Here's looking at you, kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then, and that's sort of it. We've just sort of been plugging away at it and off and on, and now it's like a full-time job, which is cool because
that's very cool, man.
They're big into chaos magic and stuff, and I want to believe in that stuff too. And there was sort of some version of sort of manifesting that
divine intervention in some way.
Yeah, I was like, whatever you're thinking about and putting your energy towards, that will be the thing that your life is about. And I was obsessed with podcasts of all things, and then
and now you're in
my job. So yeah, and now we've been doing it for quite a while, and things are looking up.
So I've got a question about your producer name, Titties.
Yeah.
What's the origin of that? If there is a,
do you guys know Last Stream on the Left?
Yes.
So that's for the uninitiated. It's a video show that we do on adultswim.com. And we just basically play fucked up videos for an hour, and then people chime in the chat, and it's just us hanging out for an hour.
It's like one of the like a YouTube party that you might have with your friends where everybody's hanging out and having a great time. Yeah. And one thing I will say about Last Stream on the Left, it is a showcase of great T-shirts. The T-shirt selection is on point for them.
That is very deliberate. There's so many cool shirt designers and like Instagram artists that obviously love the guys. Mm-hmm. So they just like send a bunch of shirts to the studio, and they're all beautiful, and it's a real cornucopia of different shirts and stuff. So they're always just like picking through piles of awesome shirts to wear on there. But yeah, the producer name, Titties. Yeah, I didn't choose that, obviously. So yeah, Henry calls me Titties, or well, he used to a little bit more. I think now he's realizes that I'm almost 30. And but I think what happened for that to come about was it was a long time ago, and it was just like one of the first episodes of Last Stream, and then he started to say Travis, and then it just sort of titties came out of his mouth because it's Henry, and that's all it takes to sort of snowball into people. And now I have people like sending me pins that say titties on it and stuff, and it's very sweet. It's extremely shock jock, it's extreme. It's corn dog and the boy in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm Titties, but it's fine. It's whatever. You can't, this is just how fate unfolds. You just have a dumb thing and you just sort of roll with it.
Titties, I wanted to come just looking at you.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
You've got that effect on people. It must be.
There we go.
One thing I will say, it's a generally understood fact on our podcast that our producer has the best hair of everybody on the podcast.
Yeah,
true. That's true.
Mine's non-existent.
So I think that you got that good hair. So congratulations.
Ben and I we butted heads many times.
Well, who's got the goodest hair?
Hair. And I think the people have spoken. Once they get a look at it, they realize that I'm the reigning champ.
You hear that, Kissel? Okay, so you moved from Georgia to New York.
Yeah.
So we're upstate New York people.
Yep. We're from the area.
The question that I had for you was, what's your perception of upstate New York, being somebody who's not even
that's a really
from
good question.
New York, not from New York
Yeah.
State in general, moved to
Yeah.
New York? What's your perception of upstate New York? Does it fucking rule like everybody says down there? Everybody down there is like, oh, I love upstate. I don't even know why I live down in this city.
They got more snow, there's more poverty,
More racism.
tons of more racism.
Okay, well, I will say, I could tell that people have a general, like, cold shoulder towards the upstate part of upstate New York. I think it's kind of nice. My girlfriend is from Greenwich, New York, which I know is quite a ways away from where you guys are, I think. But it's near Saratoga.
Okay. Well, that's not far from
Yeah,
us at all.
that's like 20, 40 minutes from us.
Oh,
Wait.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Right?
it's like this small town of like 600 people or something like that.
Sounds about right.
But we went up there, and we're actually going up there for Christmas, and it was nice. It's like it does have like a rural Georgia feel to it, to be honest. It's just, I guess that's just wilderness and
Yeah. A lot more
Now-
snow, I would think.
now
too.
some of like the Buffalo kind of. I've never been to Buffalo or anything like that.
You don't need to go.
I have a very like, I just imagine that it's a big tough guy college town kind of vibe.
No, it's just kind of a shithole.
Okay, well then.
They're farther upstate than us, so we look down on them.
Well, they're in Western New York too.
Whatever.
Over by the Canada.
They're over by one of those lakes.
We're actually from Utica, New York, me and my brother, which is nicknamed Sin City, or the city that God forgot.
Yep.
Oh wow.
It's also the hometown of Superintendent Chalmers from The Simpsons. You know the steamed hams bit?
Yes.
That is, he reveals that he's from Utica, and they've never done steamed hams there. We now live in Albany. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know Utica was a place, because Utica Avenue is a stop on the
not a lot of
the
people do.
A train.
Yeah.
Not
And,
a lot of people know about Utica.
Utica Avenue is where I had to pull out a wine opener to fend off a homeless guy that was trying to attack me one night.
Jesus Christ. Well, it's living up to its name.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess,
kind of how
you know?
it goes down in Utica from time to
Utica
time.
Avenue is like that was a rough spot a couple of years ago, but yeah, I didn't know that it was like a nice upstate New York place.
Yeah.
Nice is
It's got
Relative.
good food, rude dudes.
good food, rude dudes.
Okay.
What was I going to say? We're now in Albany, which is the hometown of Nixium, the cult.
Oh yes,
the
that's right.
Multi-level marketing cult.
Yep.
Well, they're in like a suburb of Albany, right?
Yeah, Rensselaer. No, Rensselaer.
Oh, that was Colony.
Maybe it's Colony.
They
Yeah.
are in Colony. Do not soil my beautiful Rensselaer with the cult.
I was going to say, you guys did talked about it on Side Stories a while back, and Ben Kissel called it Rensselaer. And like I looked at like the Twitter mentions or whatever about that, and like people were blown up. They're like and they're talking shit about Albany, and I was like, Albany sucks, dude. It's cool. Like we all know it.
Yeah. Albany, I saw a Reddit post. It was like, this guy just bitching about Albany. And the last line was, Albany's okay. You're all okay. I guess it's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It ain't
Albany's
great.
okay.
I mean, if the subject of the conversation is there's a sex cult there, I mean, you kind of have to let the cards lie as they are. You don't have to like just sort of move on. You don't have to like stick up for the sex
Yeah, you
cult
don't have to-
town.
Yeah, you really shouldn't defend a sex cult.
Just let the sex cult thing blow over, and then
And then we can rebuild the image. We're the
Yeah,
town that
don't-
ousted the sex cult after this.
exactly, yeah. Try to frame it that way. Don't be like, hey, Albany's okay. We have this sex cult after all.
We get freaky, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll brand people. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. It gets cold up here. People get bored.
Chris was branded once.
It was.
He was in a fraternity.
Yep. It's pretty dumb.
That's kind of like a sex cult, from what I understand.
Yeah. No, I guess so.
It's not so dissimilar from a sex cult that you can't call it a sex cult.
Yeah, there's some cultish aspects
There
to
is,
it.
I mean, it's a psychosexual cult for sure.
Which is even hotter if you think
Yeah.
about it.
It's all in your head, baby.
Yeah.
All right. I think without further ado, we're moving on now to topic number one.
A saucy transition.
Saucy.
All right, I am topic one today, folks, and I want to talk about one of my favorite genres of film, one of your favorite genres of film, one of everybody's favorite genre of film. Well, it should be at least horror. Now, I want to talk about horror in not the way that we've talked about in the past. We've talked about horror a bunch of times before, but I want to talk about kind of this new resurgence of horror, this renaissance kind of that we got going on, where they've taken the normal horror script and kind of flipped it around and pretty much taken like everything and just made it about mental illness, more or less. So I'm talking about like movies like It Follows and Get Out, The Babadook. Most recently, I watched Hereditary, which is very good. So I just want to kind of investigate like why those are the way they are and why we're seeing such a resurgence and people getting so excited about horror in a way they haven't in like a long time. So kind of start off, I want to sound off like your like favorite. No, Travis, you do like horror, right? I just kind of assumed that.
Yeah, absolutely. all those movies that you just listed are great. Yeah.
So if you had to pick one, what do you think your favorite like kind of recent horror would be that you really enjoyed?
This is interesting. I brought this up actually on a Side Stories episode. I guess maybe what you're sort of hinting at is this sort of different takes on horror that are not necessarily like blood splatter and ghouls and goblins and demons and stuff. Yep. And I think a version of that is a movie from 2015 called Green Room.
We both just fucking watched that movie.
Yeah, I watched that shit last night.
Really?
That movie fucking rules.
I feel weird saying this, but I think it's like one of my favorite movies.
It's very well done, first off. Like start to finish, the pacing's perfect, the actions is just right on point, and they make Nazis the monster. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, and Nazis are the monsters. It's a very real monster, and I guess maybe as an adult who is living in this extremely strange time period that we're living in, it just sort of hit me squarely in the chest when I watched it for the first time. I was actually like sweating watching this movie.
Oh, it's claustrophobic. It's great.
And for people who don't know, it's about a band that gets invited to this venue in the Pacific Northwest to play a punk show. And the venue turns out to be kind of a den of neo-Nazis, and the leader of which is Patrick Stewart.
Seeing him as a Nazi, man.
And he's great at being a scary neo-Nazi.
He was terrifying.
But they witness a drug deal go bad, and then they're trapped in the green room of the venue, and then sort of all hell breaks loose. And it takes place in one spot, and it's extremely scary, extremely tense. You don't know what's going to happen, and they don't really. The twists and turns don't really like obey. You know, people die. You know, and so that's kind of a scary horror movie to me that I don't think you would necessarily find in a horror section, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies, and I would consider it one of the scarier movies I've seen.
So like that kind of like leads into a little bit what I was kind of insinuating before about they've taken the kind of the horror like skeleton. So essentially Green Room is the classic monster in the house. So like where there's this group or this force inside of a house that's going to kill these people, and they just took out like the ghosts and the ghoulies and added Nazis instead. And it's that same claustrophobic, like there's one safe spot and you can't leave the safe spot because if you do, you're going to get fucking killed. But eventually you have to get out and move against the Nazis. But what I thought was amazing about it was the like some of the little details they put in when they booked the because this isn't a spoiler really at all because in the first like 5 minutes they booked the show at the place where they eventually get stuck in the green room, and I can't remember exactly what he said. It was like, all right, so what are they? Well, he said it. I remember how he used like the punk lingo.
Far right.
Far right braces and boots.
Yeah.
Just don't talk about them. Just don't talk about politics with them.
Yeah. Stick to your early stuff.
Yeah. Stick to your early stuff.
Yeah. Then they come out and play Nazi punks fuck off. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah, dude, that was so fucking good. And hearing a little Dead Kennedys is always kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so fucking well produced, and it didn't last too long. Which is another thing I really like about horror right now is that they don't. Not that horror ever really was longer movies. They're normally pretty short, but they get in, they get out. They're not going to sit around and linger for too long. They want to spook you. They want to get you out of there. Also,
another kind of link to what you're talking about, I would say, is speaking of Hereditary. Ari Aster, the director of Hereditary. The movie he did was before Hereditary was actually a short film. I can't remember the name of it right now, but that movie is scary. That little short film is scary unto itself, but it's not a horror movie necessarily. Again, it's a real life scare thing, and the plot is this sort of like white picket fence family, and then it turns out that it slowly is revealed that the son is raping the dad.
Okay,
repeatedly. And it's just sort of like this drawn out thing where the son is mentally toying with the dad and repeatedly raping him, and then basically at the end the dad gets hit by a car, and that's sort of the end of it. It's scary and depressing and moody and atmospheric, and then you can kind of obviously you can see how that same director did Hereditary, but then Hereditary has like a whole seance demon Satan thing, so it's like, oh, you just pop a couple of those in there, and then you have a legitimate horror movie. Well,
so that's a lot of like what you're seeing now is they're taking the skeleton and they're putting psychological thrillers more or less, and they're inserting that into that kind of like a that almost pacing to a psychological thriller, and then making that into a horror movie. Which I think
psychological.
Really well done.
I think they're like getting better at it or something. Yeah, I can't think back to a psychological thriller that made me like actually like a pulse pounding psychological thriller. I'm trying to think of anything right now.
There's the one Joaquin Phoenix movie that came out recently.
Oh, You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah, You Were Never Really Here, which is like my anxiety was kicked up by it. It's
like
but that's almost art house,
basically a child molester avenger. Like he kills pedophiles with a hammer or something.
He's the Punisher, but with a hammer. Yeah.
Okay, great.
And a beard.
Is a little bit Leon the Professional in there too.
A little bit. Except he probably would have gotten hit with a hammer, Leon, because he was kind of a.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
There was some weird Lolita shit going on in Leon.
So, and what do you think about you for a recent horror movie that you really enjoyed?
You know, I'm torn between The Guest and The Witch. The Vivitch.
The Vivitch. I never saw The Vivitch.
It was good. I enjoyed it because Satan. Is it Satan? Because
Satan has a great cameo.
So that was cool. But like The Guest, I just found was nuts.
So now the Guest is the one where the guy comes back from.
He was supposed to be a friend of the family's recently deceased son,
brother, or whatever. Yeah.
That's another great example of a movie that's like, is this a horror movie?
Yep.
Right.
Or am I just afraid of my own feelings because of the ice cold blue eyes of the star in it? Like,
well, also like the color hue on it, it's so saturated, and it makes you uncomfortable almost.
It feels like an 80s horror movie in that way.
Yeah, I love it.
And it's got all the synthwave music in it too. The soundtrack to that shit was wild. One thing that I've actually thought about that may go into this new renaissance in horror is the rise of streaming services. Because movies like The Babadook and Green Room were almost exclusively released on streaming. They had small theatrical releases, but we didn't get up here.
Yeah. So what I want to do, kind of cap this off here, guys, is I want to open up the writing room.
Okay.
Quick.
Okay.
All right. Let's make our own horror movie, and we need to have we got to have our monster, but it's not a traditional monster. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking about maybe somebody that vapes a lot. Maybe that's...
Is it Popcorn Lung?
Yeah, Popcorn Lung. Shit. So what's his motivation, though?
Okay, so mango jewel pods have been made illegal.
Yep, that is actually true.
That's true. He is the sole holder of the last shipment of mango jewel pods.
Well, no, the person that he's attacking is.
Okay, wait.
No.
Are we talking about protagonist or antagonist here?
Oh.
Protagonist, it's like a cargo cult. A parachute of mango jewel pods descends into his apartment. He then has to fight off everyone. He's sitting on top of a throne.
So we're talking an I Am Legend.
No, I'm thinking. Well, yeah. It could be like a neo zombie movie. You've got these fucking vape kids coming in. You've got kids that are doing Fortnite dances over. You know, they're doing the Millie Rock coming up to the door.
The Fetty Wapping in. Is that a thing?
No, the Fetty Wap is not a dance. Okay. That is a man.
When I think vape, I do think teen zombie hordes actually. Yeah. Because that's what's happening, right? Like the Juul is making kids turn into fucking nicotine fiends now.
Yep.
That's how I quit smoking, but hey.
I am dangerously almost about to be addicted to nicotine because my girlfriend uses a vape, and I just sort of like casually pick it up sometimes. And now I'm like, I'll get stressed or something, and I'm like, give me that vape. And so it does. It's like almost like a rage virus. That's what I would do with a vape movie. It's teenagers with the rage virus, but a lot of neon lights, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we need synthwave.
Their eyes light up like the Juul light.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely got to be a scene where the power gets cut in the apartment,
and yes,
and it's
all
just
a bunch of little fucking little pinholes.
What's that movie? Escape the Block, or do you remember this one?
Escape the Block.
Shit. What's it called? It has John Boyega in it. It's from a while ago. Aliens. It's like a space invader movie.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
That's another good one, actually. Never mind. Look up John Boyega space.
I love John Boyega.
Yeah.
So
Attack the Block.
Attack the Block. Okay.
I think I heard about that one. So setting, man in apartment.
Yep.
He gets the last shipment of mango jewel pods.
So no, he's so the world has come to an end as we know it. Society has melted down because we've gotten rid of the mango jewel pods.
Right. The teens are coming from the hills.
Okay, so only people left are about 30 or something year olds because they use the menthol jewel pods.
Right. They use the big boy vapes.
And he's scavenging. Your protagonist is scavenging, and he comes across this crate. He opens up the crate, and then he sees it. And immediately, the smell of the pods goes out into the ether, and then the eyes start flashing. Mm-hmm. And he's got to.
He knows that this is a death sentence, so he has to start boarding up his apartment and fortifying and getting ready for the Fortnite teens coming in. They're saying
flossing their way
they're flossing down the street, and so how does he get out? What is his mode of exit?
Well, so there's obviously going to be two endings to this movie. There's going to be the Hollywood ending and the Criterion edition.
Oh, the director's cut.
The director's cut. He makes it through somehow. He builds a bomb out of the vape and just fucking blows it up.
I was thinking, burn down the apartment with his vape bomb. Yeah.
But the other one is he just starts vaping the mango jewel pods and becomes a zombie, and just accepts his lot in life.
I think that's. His eyes glow orange in the darkness as we roll credits.
Cut. Roll credits.
All right. So what's the name of this movie, folks?
A pod by any other name. I don't know.
A pod by other. How about Let the Right Vape In?
Let the Right Vape. Okay.
Mango Unchained.
Mango Unchained.
Mango Unchained. There you go.
I think that's the winner.
That's the one. All right. Without further ado, we're moving on now to topic.
Oh, spicy.
Number. Two. It's always a good sign when I almost fuck up a number.
That's you, Travis.
Oh, this is me. Well, yeah. So we got holidays coming up. So I figured we should talk about just sort of like the most. It doesn't have to be the strangest gift, but maybe the most sort of memorable, like life-changing, disturbing maybe gift you've ever received.
Okay, I'm into that. All right.
And mine has to be when I got a gift I got when I was, I guess, like 11 or something. My stepdad, Dan, returned from deployment in the army to South Korea, and he brought back gifts for my mother and my sister and I. And he brought back my sister a porcelain doll. He brought back my mom a kimono, and he brought back for me a Komodo dragon.
Wait,
a monitor lizard.
Oh, an actual fucking lizard?
Yes.
An actual fucking lizard.
An actual, which is illegal to. I don't know how he got it here, but he brought like a Indiana Jones crate, and it had a monitor lizard in it, also known as a Komodo dragon. And so I kept this thing for a couple months, and
then released it into the wild.
No, we had it in our living room in a big terrarium, and I would come home and feed it like a big fucking bowl of carrots and whatever. Because you're not supposed to like feed it meat because it'll get aggressive.
Right.
So every day I would come.
Once it gets a taste for human blood,
it's gonna go for
I
the fucking family cat after that. Like
that's what I was told. Like, don't feed it after midnight.
Christ.
Don't put water on it.
well, because it's a fucking dinosaur and it shouldn't be in a fucking house.
And so he just sort of like. Every day I would come back and feed him, and he didn't play or anything like that. He just sort of sat there and brooded. But one day I came home from school, and the cage was empty.
Oh no!
And the top of the cage was sort of slightly askew, and nobody else was in the house. And so I started like this mad search. I was looking under the couch, in the pantries, behind the TV, in the closets, anything, and I couldn't find him anywhere. And so I got really scared. And then I heard the sound of water splashing from upstairs.
This is the new horror right here.
Yeah,
this is the horror movie.
So I slowly go upstairs, listening to the sound of just water splashing all over the place. And I see that the bathroom light is on, and I turn the corner, and I see my mom on her knees, bent over the bathtub, and she has a loofah in her hand, and she's vigorously scrubbing the back of the Komodo dragon. And the Komodo dragon is losing its shit because it didn't want a bath, and it wants to murder my mom. And I say, Mom, what are you doing? His name was Thor. I said, Mom, don't wash Thor. And as soon as she hears me, she turns around and says, Hey, Travis, welcome home. And the Komodo dragon at that point takes advantage of the situation, he whips my mom in the face with his large tail, stands up on his hind legs, and drags her into the bathtub and starts drowning her with his massive dino body.
Jesus Christ.
And so I had to like fight this dinosaur off of my mom, and then we, he went upstate.
As they say, he went upstate.
Dan made sure he went to a nice place to live upstate.
Where he can frolic and be among with his friends.
Yes, all the lizards that live in upstate.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Komodo dragon farms all over the place up here. We're fucking it's a mess of them.
This was Washington State, so maybe they do have lizard farms up there. I don't remember.
I could see that.
The northern part of every state is just awash in giant lizards.
It's how you keep the borders separate, between the states. That's the checkpoint.
Yeah.
You got to fight the lizards.
Yeah. Wow. Quick anecdote. I'm terrified of lizards. I don't fucking like lizards. They shouldn't be around people because they're fucking dinosaurs. I was in the office the other day, a nice office. I work at an IT place, and I turn a corner, and what do I see? A fucking lizard the size of a small fucking, no, not a small dog, a medium-sized fucking dog being cradled like a fucking baby, and everybody acting like it was fucking normal.
Wait. So we worked together, and I saw that lizard, and the best part about this story? I'm not fucking kidding that lizard's name was Loki.
Yeah.
So we had Thor and Loki. Okay.
Yeah.
We got a Marvel movie. Guys, we're about to get paid.
Shit, yeah. Clearly
That lizard was a tegu, by the way.
Yeah, whatever. It's too fucking big. And I was walking around, and I look in one of the conference rooms, and there's the lizard being cradled like a child, wearing a fucking vest like it's a person. This should be in a fucking office. My boss asked me, "Hey, Pars, what type of lizard do you think that is?" I don't fucking care, Chris. It's a fucking dinosaur in the goddamn office. So, I don't like lizards.
Well, what type of lizard was it?
He was a tegu. He was sweet, man. You pet him. He was smiling. He loved people. He was a very personable lizard. He was like a scaly cat.
Well, if I could do another side diversion here, a tangent. I used to love lizards, and I had lizards all growing up. And
I'm sorry if I offended you.
When I was 13, I had 15 anoles. I don't know if you know what anoles are.
Yeah.
They're like these they're very cute little tiny. They're the size of a pinky.
Okay.
And I asked my mom to take care of them when I was going to visit my dad one weekend, and my mom's not super on top of shit, so she let them all die. And I made her do like a mass grave in our backyard. We had like little crosses, 15 little crosses.
Oh, that's adorable.
Animals, yeah. It was important to me.
We had like I don't know if this was common where you're from for like school, but they would send. I think they would do it in Noli's as well. They would send them home with kids, like to foster for a little while. They had like a class pet, and then you'd allowed to bring it home.
They're very fragile.
Well,
I don't know why you'd give them to children.
Funny story. I did kill one on a weekend visit.
Yeah, you did, because they're like they're not made for little kids to put their grubby hands on. They're just supposed to be sitting on a blade of grass.
Okay, Chris, I know a gift that I wouldn't necessarily call it a gift, rather something that we fought for back in the day. Do you want to tell the story then?
Well, are we talking about the picture?
Absolutely.
So white elephant. There was a white elephant with our family, and there was this gigantic. I don't want to call it a painting because it's not a painting.
It was a velvet.
Yeah.
3D embossed thing. So it was
quite large. It is quite large.
And it's a cockfight, the image of a cockfight made of seashells.
Yeah.
And it's horrific looking. And somebody bought it, and somebody in our family bought it in like some kind of like flea market type situation. Like, and they were like, it was like, it was the stinker gift for the exchange, and everybody's like, oh, okay, well, it's not gonna, oh, I don't want this. And me and Chris came around the corner and we're like, that is fucking ours. Like, yep. Give me this. We had that in your old apartment. We had that picture, which was a red velvet thing with the cockfight on it, and then next to it we had one of those velvet murals, and it was a matador. So apparently we were just like totally co-signing like animal cruelty.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was really
yeah, it was a thing. But the thing about it was my father stole it from us.
Yeah.
Because he wanted it for his basement, and I had to go in the dead of night back to Utica, New York to steal it back.
The great heist.
Yeah.
I've got a story not necessarily about giving or getting gifts, but about giving the gifts. It actually happened today. So I went to the post office. We've got things I've been sending out for the holidays. I actually sent you one, Travis. You'll get it on Friday.
Awesome.
But I went to the post office to send them out, and while I was in the post office, there was a dirty old man yelling at his adult child, I assume. She looked like she was about 50. He looked like he was about 70-ish. And he was screaming at her, and he was like, you put the wrong numbers. You got numbers on numbers. There's no way. I knew you were fucking lying to yourself. You're a fucking idiot. Like, he was really going off on her in the fucking post office.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm at the counter with the lady. We're sending out the packages, and she's like, oh, Santa sees you when you're sleeping. He knows if you've been bad or good. And I was like, yeah, no, that guy's an asshole. And so then I walk outside, and the guy's outside doing the thing where, like, he's clearly just made a scene, and, like, he's trying to get everyone around him to, like, co-sign it. Like, he's looking at me. He's going, oh, can you believe it? And I just looked at him, and I don't know where this came from in me. I'm not an aggressive person. But I just go, hey, cheer up, asshole. And he he lost his fucking mind. He called me a punk. He said that he would beat the shit out of me.
I'm so proud of you, Andy.
I know. I got in a fight today. And he said he would beat the shit out of me and that I was a punk. And then I turned around and I went, fuck you. And I nearly grabbed my crotch and said, I'm walking here, but I didn't quite have the energy to do that. But yeah, I nearly killed an old man today.
Damn. Just another thing that millennials are killing, berating your daughter.
Yeah.
It was seriously fucked up.
Man.
I've never had that happen to me before. I've never been moved to be aggressive. Generally just let people perpetrate terrible crimes against me most days.
So how was that a gift? Was it a gift
I
to
was
yourself?
sending out gifts. It was a gift.
Oh,
Gift related.
It was gift. I was the Santa Claus.
You were the Santa Claus.
And
Giving
he
him
was
the gift of
the
truth.
Grinch, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I what other weird gifts have we gotten? We give each other weird gifts every once in a while. Chris got me the John Benjamin album that it was called. Well, I guess I should have learned jazz or learn
how to play
learn how to play
piano.
piano. It's a jazz album where he had like 3 jazz musicians, like a bassist and a drummer and stuff, and then he just kind of like fucked around on a piano and pretended like he was playing jazz. So that was one. What else? What other weird gifts have you given me?
I got your Dreamcast last year.
Yeah, Chris did give me a Dreamcast in the year 2018.
That's not weird at all. That's great.
It is great.
One of my favorite games is what is it? Jet Set Radio.
Hell yeah. You know it is. It's a great game.
So my mom and I actually we've kind of been my mom was like went to prison a couple times and like she's just kind of like a transient person, and so we've been estranged off and on for several years. And so 2 times in my life I've been able to surprise her on 2 different Christmases by showing up in the state that she's living in at the time. So one year I surprised her by showing up at her place of work in Kansas after not seeing her for about 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I walked into my mom's hair salon and very sheepishly, and she came out to sort of greet me and like tell me to sit down, and she didn't know who I was because she hadn't seen me in so long. And she said, you look a lot like my son if he were older.
Christ.
Oh no.
Oh wow.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also funny and
And then
heartwarming.
I was like, hey, it's me. And she broke down crying, sobbing on her knees. It was very maudlin. But she hadn't seen me in forever, and I like had transformed into a different person. So and then I did it again a couple of years after that.
Just can't get enough.
She was in Alaska, and I flew to Alaska from New York City.
Oh wow.
Jesus Christ.
And my brother, who had sort of orchestrated this whole thing, took her out to see like whatever dumb production of the Nutcracker they had playing in Anchorage. And she came back, and I was just sort of like in the house, and she had like a pizza in her hand, and she like dropped the pizza and started sobbing and crying again. It was great. Offering yourself up as a gift, it takes many years of not seeing the person.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah, it's a very slow burn, but it's well worth it.
It's a long
to make someone have like a full-on nervous breakdown.
Well, what you could do is you just get one of those Groucho Marx, like fucking the nose with the glasses.
You look just like my son if you were Groucho Marx.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, just a personal reaction to that. You're a good boy, Travis. That was very nice.
It's very heartwarming to hear about.
Yeah, no, I think that like, okay, so one thing that I would say is that I don't know, I think I'm a good gift giver.
You are.
I think that I have the ability to cut into people's like personality and get the right kind of gift, because getting a gift is like a very tough. It's like it really is a test of how well you think you know them, and when you get a gift from somebody, it's generally a readout of how well they think they know you. I don't know. What do you look for when you're giving a gift for somebody? Is it something that's kind of rare that they maybe only you and them share that thing in common with each other?
Exactly. I mean, you're right. Giving a gift to someone it's telling them how much you know about them, and also B, how much you give a shit about them. So, for example, like I just got my girlfriend what I considered to be a cool gift. We just got a puppy, like I was mentioning before we started recording. And I had this artist, Rob Israel, who I'm a fan of on Instagram. I commissioned him to make a painting of our puppy as a monster. So he has very cool eyes and, like tentacles and stuff like that. And I got it framed and everything. And that's the gift. That's
beautiful.
It's a celebration of our horrible, bitey little puppy. And then sort of on the flip side, I don't really know her family that well. We've only been dating for a year. So I was at like a kind of IKEA place last night, and I was like trying to find something for her sister. And you know what? I was like, I need to be real. Like, this is how much I know this person and how much I can sort of muster up financially and creatively. I got her like this squishy alien doll.
Okay,
nice.
It's like one of these like 25-cent squishy aliens, but extremely big.
Okay.
So it has no practical purpose whatsoever.
It's got some practical purpose.
I guess if you're, it is almost like a small body pillow for like one of the, like an anime dude, but for her sister who is almost 30.
Nice.
And it has like the most creepy gremlin goblin face I've ever seen. It's great. And he has like no teeth. And I was like, this will at least show that here's what I'm bringing to the family. Here's what I'm bringing to the table. I'm trying to be thoughtful, but at a certain point you kind of have to like just throw a Joker card out there.
Yeah, you gotta go for it.
Because what am I gonna? I don't want to get her like some fucking trite shit. Like
Well, okay. So I'm a little different. I like to get practical gifts. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you what I got for our father on the air because he listens every time. But like I got him a very practical thing for his kitchen that he will enjoy very much. But like for my girlfriend's birthday, I got her a bidet because sometimes you need a bidet.
You gotta get.
That's great.
You mean you got you a bidet?
We both use it. We use the same toilet, man. So
Chris is the first person that we know to get a bidet. So a lot of people have come over to his house to take a shit. It's an honor and a privilege to get your ass eaten at Chris's house. One of the things that I think that is very important for gift giving is getting something for them that they're not going to give for themselves.
Well, yeah, if you can find that's like my thing with like buying something practical, like quote unquote, something I know that they want, but they're not going to just put the money for because it's maybe just expensive enough or like it's just outside of what they want to spend on something. Not that I'm like spending lavishly or anything like that, but like, okay, so it's $25. I can't spend $25 on that. That's stupid. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go and buy that thing for that person. I like that type of shit.
Once anybody that I know buys a record player, it becomes there's a whole new world of gift giving.
Just the easiest way to give a gift ever.
It's so easy. I know that we both like this band. Here's the album. Thanks, love you.
Well, I got you Queens of the Stone Age. Make you listen to Queens of the Stone Age.
Yep.
That's right.
What was I gonna say? Actually, I just thought of another weird gift that you and Eric got for me for a birthday.
Oh yeah, that was a great gift.
They got me a autographed picture of Steve Harvey. Because I've always wanted to be a game show host.
Yep.
And so they went on eBay, got an autographed picture of Steve Harvey, and it says, "Thanks, wish you the best, Steve," and then signed to Maria.
Yep.
So not only is it a weird gift because who has an autographed picture of Steve Harvey, but it's also somebody.
It's a second hand.
It's a second hand, which makes me feel like I'm taking Maria's power away from her. She was given this energy from Steve Harvey, and now it's mine.
I love Steve Harvey because he's the most reluctant game show host.
Oh yeah.
Of all time.
Yeah.
He's the idea of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey, like the refusal of the call to adventure.
Yeah, dude.
He has refused the call to be a game show host, and it makes him more endearing and compelling as a game show host.
Yeah,
rolling his eyes at every single person on the panel.
Steve Harvey plays Family Feud like how I play at home, but as the host, and it's so magical because. Like, at home, you don't want to watch Family Feud with me because I lose my mind. Like, if somebody says, something that's completely wrong, like if there's like, oh, what's your, something that you find on bread, and they're like, marshmallow fluff. It's like, no fucking way did one of these 100 people do that, Greg. Fuck you, Greg. Like, Greg, you're fucking killing us. We're trying to get this fucking Hyundai Sonata.
You and me, Greg. You and me. We're going to get that Hyundai.
But I love it when he thinks that someone's completely fucked it up. He does not hide it at all, and seldom are they correct because they'll be like, oh, it's up there. It's up there. The other thing I enjoy
he says Greg, and then just sort of like, Greg, like slack-jawed and looks around at the audience like he just got Alzheimer's or something.
Get a load of this guy.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that every time something about sex comes up, he goes, oh, this is a family show. Although all of fucking Family Feud's prompts nowadays are dick jokes. Like, at least half of them are. Like, something that's slippery when wet. Like, that's my husband's cock. I don't know. Like,
have you watched a lot of Steve Harvey's stand-up?
I haven't actually watched his stand-up.
He's really good. He's really amazing. He's really good. there's one part of his I think it's a Kings of Comedy special, and he's talking about like, man, rap music these days, like I just can't get on board. You know, they're talking about, you know, I'm gonna get you wet with my gun. I'm gonna shoot you and get you wet. And he's like, and and then he does this very like trademark Steve Harvey thing where he says like, you know, I don't want to get wet from a bullet. I want to get wet from making love. And then he looks out into the audience, and all the women are like, "Ooh, Steve!" Yeah. It's like gross. Thanks, Steve. But I don't know if you got to look up this bit that he did, and I don't know if this is like a plant or something because it was so perfect. He points out this guy that's been heckling him in the audience, and it's this really ridiculous guy wearing a big.
Oh,
like,
it's the jacket one. I have seen this.
Where he's like, he's like, what's your name? And the guy's like, Boogie, and he's like, Boogie. Okay, what is it that you do, Boogie? And he's like, computer school.
And does anything about you say computer or school?
Yeah. It's like, oh, come on, that's too good. This has to be a plant.
Yeah, and he like steals his jacket, right? They go to the bathroom.
Oh
and
yeah,
then,
he like leaves the jacket, and then he's like, Boogie, did you forget something? It was great. It's great.
Yeah,
I highly recommend that YouTube video.
Yeah, I love Steve Harvey. What do you think his mustache smells like, though?
Lacquer.
That man is so wealthy. There's not a part of his body that smells bad or foul.
That's true.
It's a nice boot leather.
Smells like success, you little shit.
God, to be as wealthy as Steve Harvey. That's got to be great.
Should we? All right. Without further ado, I would like to say thank you for all the gifts that you've given on this podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everybody that's given a gift.
Love you. Moving on. Topic. Number 3. All right. Topic number 3. All right. So we've seen the news. We're aware there's a war on Christmas. But let's be historical on this podcast. And let's find out how Christmas came to be.
Yeah.
Christmas was a holiday that was brought to the masses through a war. The war for Christmas. Or rather, the war against like the cult of Mithra and all other Roman religions. So for those who don't know how this all worked, like the reason why Christmas is in December, specifically on the 25th, is because it syncs up with the Roman holiday of Saturnalia. Saturnalia is like fun, no rules, just right. When you're here, your family Christmas.
Yeah, it's a cult shit, man. I don't give a fuck.
No, it's not. It's just a Roman. They're just Romans.
Okay, Romans. They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. They love to drink wine. They love to have sex.
Yep.
It was a good time. They love puking, so make more room for the wine and the sex.
It's a party I can get behind.
Okay, so I suggest that we talk a little bit about this holiday of Saturnalia. Are you guys familiar with it at all?
Tertiarily.
Okay. So Saturnalia is basically the holiday that's there to exalt the god Saturn of the Romans, which is Kronos for the Greeks. Saturn was the ruler of the golden age of man. The golden age of man was sound pretty dope. It was basically man and gods lived in harmony together and among each other. There was bountiful food. Nobody had to labor to get food. And therefore, Saturnalia is supposed to kind of replicate that time. So the traditions of Saturnalia are basically, it's a week of debauchery, more or less.
Hell yeah.
Which we can all get into. One of the things that you do is, one of the things I think is striking about is that, not unlike Christmas, you have the stores, the courts, and war making is all forbidden during this time frame.
I thought war making was part of it.
No war during Saturnalia. Okay. Everyone is equal, is what the vibe of Saturnalia is.
Okay.
One of the things that you'll see, so basically, if this were in the modern context, that would mean that like capitalism, government, and like imperialism are all canceled for a week. And you know, we're woke on this podcast, so those are all canceled anyway.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
One of the things that they allowed.
You can find us at patreon.com/everyone.
Don't worry about that part. Okay, so the one thing that you can gamble in the streets on Saturnalia, which was not allowed otherwise because the Romans had regulated gambling systems like we do nowadays. There was a lot of fucking. People like to fuck each other on Saturnalia.
Romans really liked copulating.
They loved it. And you know what? I think they got that part right, except for there's probably some stuff that wouldn't really work in the modern context as far as age.
Yep.
Anyway, there's a reversal of classes during Saturnalia, which is the masters are the ones that serve the slaves, and the children command their parents. That's like a thing that happens. And then they also go ahead.
Let's investigate that for a second.
How does that work?
So
you tell me.
Yeah. Okay. So the kids can send their parents. I'm like kind of trying to put it into more of like a.
Yeah, literally, like the kids
now.
can say like, "Mom, go to bed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay up and play Fortnite."
Well, no. You make your parents play Fortnite.
Go to bed and play Fortnite.
You have to play Fortnite.
You have to.
I'm gonna go be the breadwinner now.
Okay. Well, it's not even that.
I think more than the Purge, this would scare modern America way more. The idea of everyone switches class
Yes.
on a day.
Bananas.
That would be that's the new Purge. It's trading places, but like widespread.
Think about like if you ever worked in the services. You said you're a the wine thing.
Sommelier.
I can't say the word. Like imagine switching those spots. Like motherfucker, now you serve me.
Yeah, I mean
bitch at you.
That really is the crux of everyone's like whatever economic anxiety. Like to have the homeless people be calling the shots for a day. It would basically be a Caligula style free for all.
One of the things that I actually think would be, I think it's a tradition maybe in Europe and for certain things, they elect a fool king or a lord of misrule.
Don't they like have to like kill him at the end of it or something like that though?
No, that's the corn king. That's an allegorical thing.
Okay.
But no, yeah. So they elect a fool king. So he'd be like, it's like the guy that makes shit fun. He makes rules. So like
So it's like the king in Kings more or less. You just make all the rules.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's like you're the king in Kings for a week, and you get to say stuff. You know, like you could come up and just say, "Hey, you take off your pants and do a little dance." Like,
fucking 2 + 2 is 5 now. Go fuck yourself. Inflation.
Yeah, so like another thing that I enjoyed in my research of Saturnalia is that everybody gets to wear special hats during Saturnalia.
Hats are cool.
They're the felt hats that were called the pileus, which is the hat of a freed slave. So basically the whole point of it is to bring equality. It's to symbolize that.
Right.
But it's shaped like an egg to symbolize the birth of some god from the Greeks that was a twin.
So can we...
We're wearing egg hats.
Yes, so a bunch of people drinking, fucking, switching spots, wearing egg hats.
Wearing egg hats. We came for silly hats.
Oh, I can get behind that.
So the other thing that I like about Saturnalia is that it lasts for a week.
Yeah.
There's a week of this shit. So I can funnily, strangely enough, Saturnalia was attempted to be curtailed, like corralled and made shorter by a lot of the Roman emperors later. As it started to become more Christian and stuff like that, they started to try to cut it down to like less than a week to like 3 days or just 1 day. But people didn't like that, so there were like revolts against that.
Okay. We want our egg hats.
We want our egg hats. We came for silly hats. The other thing that I like about, I just like the god Saturn is rad. He's metal as fuck. I don't know if you've ever seen the Goya painting. It's called Saturn Devouring His Children.
Oh yeah,
which is amazing. Saturn ate the mythology goes that Saturn ate his children so that none of them could overthrow him. And the one that escaped was Jupiter or Zeus in the Greeks. And he ended up rising up and overthrowing him and starting the Silver Age, which sucked. And then every age after that sucked. Basically, the difference between the Golden Age and the Silver Age and any of that is that they basically introduced like hardships into the world, like the seasons and a non-abundance. And so that's why we are
Seasons
the way we
aren't that bad. I like the fall.
Yeah, but the winter's hard when you don't have heat.
No, that's why you have fire.
Actually, so getting to the crux of the issue here, Christmas was basically I like to think of it as like Hollywood, like punch up guys. We're like, we got this religion. We're trying to get this out. We're trying to make this ubiquitous. But what are we going to do? We need to blend it with a pre-existing fun thing that's happening.
Okay.
So like, all right, let's bing, bang, boom. Let's do Saturnalia. Saturnalia is now Christmas. It's basically replace the egg hat with the Santa hat. Bing, bang, boom. You get the point.
I think there's a little more between saying that Christmas to the thing is a little bit in between the egg hat to the Santa hat.
Well, yeah, of course, you have
Probably different
transitionary
hats.
periods
Yeah,
where
I
the
would assume
hats
there'd be
get
some-
longer and redder as they get, more Santa-like.
Yeah. And then Coca-Cola came in and just changed everything.
I actually found out that there's been several times when Christmas has been banned in the United States and, before pre-United States when it was still the colonies, and also in England. Oliver Cromwell banned Christmas because it was too fun, and he was a square. And then Christmas was banned in Massachusetts as a whole.
Fucking course it was.
From 1659 to 1681.
Fucking course it was.
So it's like 2 decades of no Christmas because, once again, it was too fun and the Puritans can't fucking handle any fun.
Now, when you say they canceled Christmas, did they just say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas?
That was what it was. Yep.
Praise the snow.
It was big government overreach for the Christmas. Okay, so what I would like to do is I think it's time that we take a page out of Christmas's book.
Okay.
And we're going to bring Christmas into our own holiday.
What's our holiday?
Well, we have Pizza Christmas.
Oh, we do have Pizza Christmas.
Pizza Christmas, Travis, is the one day a year when you take a time and you say thank you to all the pizza slices that have gotten you through those hard days, the long nights, the tough mornings, hungover or just tired. And you just see that cold slice of pizza and it holds you in its loving arms and it brings you together.
Thank you, pizza.
It sounds a little bit like the menorah, like using the oil to light the candles for however many days.
Yeah, and
it sounds a little bit like a Jewish thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're all inclusive.
This is non-denominational.
Everybody eats pizza. Nobody
Except
doesn't
for
eat
people
pizza.
from fucking Chicago. You're not allowed.
They can be a part of it.
Interesting.
It's Pizza Christmas, Chris. Come on. It's not the spirit.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We'll keep my mouth shut.
But
Chicago.
what I would like to do is take some of the Pizza Christmas traditions and bring them into the mainstream. So how can we do that? What do you think?
Well, first off, how are we making money?
We're going to make money by selling pizza hats, obviously.
Okay, cool.
Christmas hat, pepperoni print. Come on.
Yep.
Okay, we're there.
All right. So what's the name of the new house? It's just Pizza Christmas.
Just Pizza Christmas.
We don't want to like maybe do a throwback.
To Saturnalia?
Pizza Saturnalia.
Pete.
Make it a fucking week.
Mozzarella?
Mozzarella. Pepperonelli.
It's too close.
Okay.
Pizza orgy.
Pizza.
I was gonna say pizza week long fuck fest.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think
Pizza fuck fest.
I think people like short clipped words. It's fine.
Okay. Pizza fuck fest.
Pizza fuck fest. Okay, so let's take some of the traditions of Saturnalia. So Saturnalia is all about equality.
Yep.
Everybody gets a slice of za.
Oh yeah, no, of course.
There's no real waiting in lines because everybody's cooking pizza in their
Everybody's
hearth.
everybody's got to create their own pizza, bring their own pizza to the town square, and they'll be judged on the quality of their pizza. If it does not meet the crust, you see what
I got it. Yeah.
you see that?
Love puns.
Then they have to make more pizza. I don't know.
I don't want to be punitive on Pizza Christmas.
I do want to be punitive on Pizza Christmas.
That's because you're
though.
a dictator. You're a little tyrant, Chris.
Nobody underneath me, so I don't see how you could call me a tyrant.
All right. Saturnalia is a week long.
Yes.
Pizza Christmas must be a week long.
Pizza fuck fest.
Pizza fuckfest, sorry. They wear silly hats. We wear egg hats. Let's wear pizza hats.
We got pizza hats.
We got pizza hats, all right? But let's go one step further. Gambling's legal in Saturnalia.
Yep.
Okay? Let's make it that you can gamble, but with pepperoni slices for chips. Come on.
Okay. I like the idea of the pepperoni slices for chips, but problem being that those are perishable
Yeah,
and they're edible.
that's fine.
Well, no, because maybe
We're trying to abolish money here, Chris. We're trying to make everything better. Why
You
not
can't
equalize?
abolish money.
Yes, you can.
You can't abolish money.
Well,
Travis,
what makes gambling fun is the possibility that your life is ruined.
that's true.
That's the addictive quality. So if it's about pizza chips, I think you have to. I think there has to be some kind of physical assault involved. Like I think you have to get burned by hot grease or something else. Because
no,
Put your hand in the pizza oven.
your hand goes in the pizza oven.
something like that. Because gambling isn't fun unless you can lose it all. I think that's what makes it so addictive. I'm not a gambler, but Michael Jordan got his dad killed because of gambling, and I have to imagine it must have to be so addicted that you get your father killed by gangsters.
Did that happen?
Yeah,
That
I think
actually happened?
that was the report.
Really?
Yeah, Michael Jordan was pretty bad with gambling.
Jesus, did not know that. Okay.
Well, let's get him involved.
Yeah, Michael Jordan is in what did we call it? Christmas?
Pizza Fuck Fest is a working title right now. I'm thinking that if we want to get this out to America, we might have to tone it down, make it family friendly.
We just call it PFF.
PFF. Oh, there we go.
3-letter acronym. People don't know what they mean. It's fine. PFF.
Okay.
If it is a fuck fest and it is Chris, I have to recommend we introduce pornaments as on the tree itself.
Big pepperoni nipples.
Yeah,
Right there.
pepperoni nipples.
Oh yeah.
I think that if we get Jordan in here, we got to have him shooting free throws
Well, yeah, of
with a
course.
pizza. Maybe ball it up, go a little Eric Andre on it, deliver the pizza ball. You know what I'm saying?
It's time to deliver the pizza ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that we need to get some celebrity endorsement. I mean, Papa John is out of work right now.
He's also a racist. So
How about this then? Let's
He
go
could reform
full.
his image.
No, let's go full Roman and cut his fucking head off in the town square.
Ooh.
What do
Like
you
Jordan?
think? No,
Who are we talking?
Papa John.
Papa John.
Jordan will cut off his hand for his gambling
Yeah, yeah.
crimes.
Okay.
You're the one that said you didn't want PFF to be punitive.
It's not punitive if we're killing Papa John. He's
think
made
it
his bed,
is.
now he sleeps in it.
Yeah, no, you're punishing him for his crimes. That's
I'm not
punitive.
punishing him. I'm freeing him. I'm getting him closer to Pizza Man.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
think. If you take a look at John Schneider, that man wants to be punished. He wants to die.
Yeah,
he's apparently like a debaucherous alcoholic in Kentucky.
Yeah.
And
He's a
just
bad
sort of
little boy.
Who's this?
stumbling
Papa John.
into charity
gotcha.
events, just blind drunk.
Oh, his name's not actually Papa John.
No, his first name's not Papa. His name is John, though.
John Schneider, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, John Snyder. Okay, I just always assumed his last name was John for some reason.
I mean, I guess if you had multiple Papas of different last names, you could do that. Okay,
Yeah, so then he's the king or whatever, the false king,
the Fool King.
the fool king that we kill at the end of the week.
Okay, I say we do that. I say we take John, we put him up, we make him rule. I don't want to give him any power, though.
Wait, TZ's a puppet.
Yeah, okay.
He's a puppet, and we're pulling the strings.
The mozzarella strings, little string cheese. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Jesus.
All right. I think that what we do for Pizza Christmas this year,
Okay.
we behead John Schneider.
Yes.
We cut off the hand of Michael Jordan, replace it with a pizza hand like Luke Skywalker. Okay?
His hand's not made. Okay.
It is a mechanical pizza hand.
A mechanical pizza hand.
Wires are made of cheese, metal's made of bread. You get it.
Okay, I got you.
Okay? We then...
Where's the sauce?
Where the sauce is the hydraulic fluid
Gotcha.
flowing through it. You can't trip me up.
Amazing.
Okay. We kill John, punish Jordan, and then we all come together, we gather in the town square, and we make the biggest pizza pie you've ever seen.
But that's not practical.
Why is that not practical?
We gotta fuck on the pizza.
Beat me to it.
Listen, if we're going to... I think that that's a way that we could knead the dough. We knead the dough by, making the sloppy. And then once we've made the giant pizza, we
Yeah.
put it in the hearth.
Yeah.
We all pray to Pizza Man for a good year ahead.
Yep.
No bad slices,
A good pizza harvest.
a good pizza harvest. We can sow, the fields and reap the harvest of the pizza. And then we go home and we fuck everybody. I think that that's the only logical conclusion to this.
Oh God, the idea of sleeping on a pizza made me think of that Nightmare on Elm Street 3 scene where Freddy puts a woman's face into the pizza and she's like popping out of the pepperoni. Do you remember this at all?
No, what?
It's like a disgusting. He like bakes the kids into the pizza, and they do a close up, and her face is like it's just rupturing out of the cheese and the grease and the pepperonis.
Jesus Christ.
And then he like eats a slice of it, and he's like, delicious. But
That's a good pizza
like
pie.
completely fucked with me. So now the idea of like sleeping on a pizza is one step away from that scene in my head.
It's like a poltergeist thing. You get sucked into the pizza.
Yes.
Nobody's sleeping on that pizza. This is PFF.
It's true. If you take a sleep on the pizza, he will get you in your dreams.
Yeah.
All right. Folks, if you're still listening, thank you for listening to us.
Yeah, no, folks, if you are, we appreciate you guys. Travis, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Do you have anything to plug? Anything you want to let the people know about?
Last podcast just did a live show in Chicago, and I did all the fun videos that you see in that production, and we're gonna release that on sale before Christmas sometime, I think. And it'll be $6.66.
You know,
Hell yeah.
Travis, when I heard about that number, it just occurred to me that's the number of the beast.
Actually, we did the numbers, and that's just sort of what we need to do to recoup our costs. I don't know why it turned up 666. I think I also think that's a very strange coincidence.
What a quinky.
But yeah, our accountant Satan pretty much just said like that's just sort of the number we need to sell it at.
Fair enough.
So yeah, but that's like that's coming out, and then I mean, last podcast is pretty ubiquitous, so I don't need to tell you guys to listen to it. If you listen to it, you already listened to it. If not, then
all right. Thank you to everyone.
Yeah, thank you, folks. And with that, be nice to each other. Enjoy the holidays.
Be nice. This pizza Christmas.